Here's an uncomfortable truth nobody talks about. Calm can be financially dangerous. Not panic, not chaos, not the night you're staring at your bank account wondering how this became your life. Calm. Because there's a very specific moment I watched play out hundreds of times over the years. The collector hasn't called in 3 days. The stack of unopened mail is still sitting on the counter, but you stopped looking at it. You got a little extra money this week. Not enough to solve the problem, just enough to breathe for a minute. And somewhere between pouring that second cup of coffee and sitting down on the couch, a thought creeps in. Maybe it's not that bad. That thought, that random quiet Tuesday afternoon, that is one of the most financially dangerous moments in your life. Because when the pressure eases, people stop moving. They stop opening the mail. They stop making the call. They stop fixing the problem. They start negotiating with reality like, well, maybe if nothing else happens, which is adorable because adult life has never once looked at somebody and said, you know what? Let's give them 6 calm months in a row. I'm Ben Matthews, your friendly neighborhood bankruptcy attorney, and this is Debt Sucks. And today we're talking about one of the most dangerous moments in your financial life. Not when everything falls apart, when everything temporarily calms down. Because that's where people drift. That's where momentum dies. That's where I'll deal with it later quietly turns into another year. If you've ever dealt with financial stress, you know this moment. You hit a point where things felt overwhelming. Maybe bills were stacking up, creditors were calling, you were losing sleep. You finally said, I've got to do something. So you made a plan, talked to someone, looked into some options, maybe even hired an attorney, and then things got quieter. Not fixed, just quieter. Let's define this clearly because this is where people get tricked. Calm is not a resolution. Calm is not stability. Calm is not progress. A lot of times, calm is just a temporary pause in pressure. That's it. The problem didn't disappear. It just stopped screaming for a minute. You know this feeling. It's the last week of the month. You genuinely did not think you were going to make it at all. And somehow, through a combination of moving money around, ignoring 2 emails, eating whatever was left in the freezer, and what I can only describe as financial parkour, you made it. Barely, but technically, you made it. So now your brain starts saying, see, maybe we're okay. So no, you're not okay. You survived. Those are not the same thing. See, calm is the collector stopped calling for a few days. The car didn't break this month. Overtime showed up at work. Tax refund season arrived like a financial hallucination. You got paid on Friday and none of the major disasters hit before Tuesday. See, that's not stability. That's your life briefly not punching you in the face. And because the pressure eases for a minute, people start mistaking survival for recovery. They say things like, I must be catching up. Meanwhile, they still don't know how much debt they really have, what their monthly obligations really are, or why they feel stressed every time their phone buzzes. That's not peace. That's just a quieter panic. And quieter panic is dangerous because it convinces you to stop fixing the actual problem. And here's why this moment is so powerful, because your brain is exhausted. You've been in stress, anxiety, urgency, decision fatigue. So when things quiet down, your brain grabs onto that relief. It says, finally, we're okay, even when you're not. This is where the internal story starts. You begin to think, maybe I overreacted. Maybe I just needed to slow down. Maybe I can manage this after all. Maybe I don't need to do anything drastic. And that story feels rational, responsible, calm. But it's actually avoidance dressed up as logic. Let me show you the pattern I see all the time. So step 1 is crisis. This is too much. I need to fix this. Step 2 is action. You make a move. You start something. Step 3 is calm. The pressure drops just enough. Step 4 is drift. You pause, you wait, you delay. Step 5, the consequence. The problem keeps growing quietly. And step 6 is crisis again, only now it's worse. And here's a listener question that fits. Hey Ben, I'm confused about something. For the first time in months, things feel calmer. The collectors haven't called this week. I made it to payday. Nothing major broke. And I'm starting to feel like maybe I'm finally getting my life together. Is this what you mean by quiet confidence? Hey, thank you. That is an outstanding question. And the short answer is maybe, but probably not. Because there's a huge difference between calm and quiet confidence. Calm is when nothing bad happened this week. Quiet confidence is when you know what to do if something bad happens next week. That's the difference. Calm is external. Quiet confidence is internal. Calm says the storm passed over for a minute. Quiet confidence says, I know how to handle a storm when it comes back. And let's be honest. Sometimes life gets quiet and we mistake that silence for progress. The collectors stop calling. The car behaves. The overtime check hits. The tax refund shows up like a drunken relative who only visits once a year, but always brings cash. And suddenly you think, maybe I'm finally okay. But if you still don't know how much debt you owe, where your money is going, whether you have any savings, or what your next move is, then that's not quiet confidence. That's just temporary relief. And relief is wonderful, but relief is not a strategy. Quiet confidence is what happens when you've done the work. You've completed your rock pile. You've done the brutally honest money breakdown. You've built your shit happens fund. You have a level up money plan. And now, when life throws you a flat tire, a medical bill, or your kid telling you they need $47 by tomorrow for a school project they forgot to mention for 3 weeks, you don't spiral. You don't panic. You don't sit in your car in the parking lot wondering if your entire life is collapsing. You think, I don't like this, but I know what to do. See, that is quiet confidence, and that is one of the highest forms of wealth. Because true wealth is not a life where nothing goes wrong. True wealth is becoming the kind of person who trusts themselves when it does. Here's what's actually happening in that calm period. Nothing is fixed. Interest is still accruing. Payments are still due. Stress is still building under the surface, but because it's quieter, it feels manageable. And manageable is one of the most dangerous words in personal finance. So why don't people act in that moment? It's not laziness. It's not irresponsibility. It's something much simpler. The urgency is gone. And without urgency, action feels optional. And when actions feel optional, most people don't take it. So here's the truth I want you to hear. The absence of chaos is not the presence of control. Just because things are quieter doesn't mean things are better. So what do you do instead? You stop using your feelings as your indicator. You stop asking, does this feel urgent? You start asking, is this resolved? Because those are not the same question. So let's make this practical. Here's the exact framework I want you to use whenever life gets quiet and you start wondering whether things are truly improving. Define the problem clearly, not emotionally. Specifically. Don't say I'm overwhelmed. Say I have $28,400 in unsecured debt. My monthly minimum payments are $1,175. I have no emergency savings. One unexpected expense knocks me off course. This is exactly why I created the rock pile form. It helps you list every debt, the balance, the interest rate, and the minimum payment. No guessing, no hand waving, just the facts. 2. Define what resolved actually looks like. Not better. Finished. Resolved might mean I know exactly where my money goes each month. I have a shit happens fund in place. My bills are current. I'm systematically eliminating debt. I have a written plan for the next 12 months. That's where the brutally honest money breakdown comes in. It forces you to tell the truth about what comes in, what goes out, and what's really happening. Then the shit happens fund gives you a buffer between you and chaos. And the level up money plan tells you exactly what to do next. So 3, stay in motion until it's done, not until it feels okay, until it's complete. And this is where most people stop. The phone stops ringing, the pressure eases, they feel better, and they quit. Don't stop because things got quieter. Keep going until you have a buffer. You have a written plan. You are attacking debt intentionally. You trust yourself to handle surprises. And that's where the pile driver method comes in. You build your financial hammer, then you use it to crush one debt completely. Then you repeat again and again until the pile gets smaller and your confidence gets bigger. The best part, every one of these tools is available for free at debtsucks.info. You can download the rock pile form, the brutally honest money breakdown, the shit happens fund worksheet, the level up money plan, the pile driver tracker. No gimmicks, no financial jargon, just practical tools to help you move from temporary calm to real, quiet confidence. Because the goal is not to feel better for a few days. The goal is to build a life where you know, whatever happens next, I can handle it. That's true wealth. And that's what we're building. The hard part is this: acting when you don't feel like you need to. See, that's the difference between reaction and control. Let me give you a reframe. Calm is not your signal to stop. Calm is your opportunity to finish. Because when things are quiet, that's when you have the space to actually fix it.
Hey, let's get real for a sec. The Debt Sucks plan, it's awesome. It works. But not everyone has the time or the patience to chip away at their financial Mount Everest. Maybe you're drowning right now, like creditors calling your grandma, paycheck gone before it lands, sleepless nights count of drowning. Sound familiar? Listen, you don't have to white-knuckle your way through this alone. Instead of spending years battling debt $1 at a time, I've got you. Bankruptcy isn't a failure, it's a fresh start. And sometimes hitting reset is the smartest thing you can do. At my law firm here in South Carolina, we take the time to listen to your story and help you figure out if bankruptcy is the right choice for you. No pressure, no judgment, just straight answers and real solutions. And if you don't live in South Carolina, don't worry. I can connect you with a trusted attorney in your state. Wherever you are, help is closer than you think. So if you're ready to stop the stress and start fresh, visit debtsucks.info to share a little about your situation or call my office for a free consultation. Let's find your path forward together, because sometimes you don't need a plan, you need a damn lifeline. Let me be that lifeline.
So here's what I want you to take away from today. That moment when everything calms down, that's not the end of the problem. That's the opportunity. It's your chance to stop reacting and start rebuilding. And most people miss that opportunity, not because they're lazy, not because they don't care, but because they mistake temporary relief for permanent progress. So the next time things get quiet, instead of saying, maybe it's not that bad, you say, good, now I have the space to finish this. And here's your challenge this week. Go to debtsucks.info, download the free tools. Pick just one: the rock pile form, the brutally honest money breakdown, the shit happens fund worksheet, the pile driver tracker. You do not need to fix your entire financial life tonight. You just need to take one honest step, one form, one decision, one action. That is how quiet confidence begins. And after you use one of the tools, I want you to do something that makes the commitment real. Post about it. Tell people, I finally listed all my debts. I completed my first honest money breakdown. I started my emergency fund. I stopped pretending and made a plan. Tag me and tag the show. Because when you say it out loud, you stop hiding. And when you stop hiding, you start changing. If this episode hits somewhere real for you, follow the podcast. Leave a review. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Download the free tools at debtsucks.info. Use it this week. Post your progress. And if you started before and didn't finish, that's okay. This is not about perfection. It's about restarting. No shame, no judgment, just movement. Adulting is hard. Debt makes it harder. But you do not have to figure this out alone. The tools are free. The plan works. And quiet confidence starts with one honest step. Until next time, debt sucks, but you don't have to.